This video is about stress, dopamine, and psyching yourself out of stuttering. And this is in the section Adult Stuttering Therapy. If you like these videos, please buy my book, Making Stuttering Therapy Work, which is available on Amazon. So the president of a stuttering organization told me why he wasn't interested in speech therapy. He said, "Why is it that I can talk fluently with you and then stutter uncontrollably in another situation?" And I responded, "It's a dopaminergic disorder." He had no idea what I was talking about, and then he answered his question. "It's all in the mind. If I can change my thoughts, then I won't stutter." Dopamine is a neurotransmitter associated with reward-motivated behavior, motor control, and the release of various hormones. Too much dopamine is associated with excessive motor activities, including these three disorders. Tourette syndrome is characterized by unwanted movements, which are called tics, of the eyes, face, hands, feet, or vocalizations. Obsessive Compulsive Disorder is characterized by excessive repeated hand washing, tapping certain objects, or other movements. And stuttering is characterized by excessive, unwanted vocal fold closure and articulatory movements, lips, jaw, and tongue. These disorders manifest under stress. These disorders are compulsive. The harder one tries to avoid a behavior, the more compulsive the behavior becomes. In support groups, members are encouraged to, quote-unquote, let go and manifest behaviors without fear of social stigma or fighting against the behavior. There's also a disease caused by too little dopamine. Parkinson's is characterized by too little movement, a lack of facial movements, a shuffling gait, a low vocal volume. Many dopamine antagonist medications have been tried with persons who stutter. None have more than minor effects on stuttering, and many have side effects. Most have side effects, including some that have severe side effects. Now I'm going to talk about stress. Stuttering reduces stress. Specifically, stuttering reduces systolic blood pressure in persons who stutter by 10%. And that's more than some hypertension medications. Stuttering increases listeners' systolic blood pressure. Several studies have found that stress reduction exercises have no effect on stuttering. However, I believe that learning to identify and reduce speech-related stress is a good idea in stuttering therapy. Now I'm going to talk about mental health issues and stuttering. I've seen this many times. A person who stutters has mental health issues. The person blames their failed life, their lack of a career, relationships, happiness on stuttering. They try one of my anti-stuttering devices, or I teach them fluency techniques, and they talk fluently. A week or two later, they return the device or stop using the fluency techniques. Some of these individuals have the insight to say that being unable to blame stuttering for their problems is forcing them to face their real problems. And they'd rather stutter than address their mental health issues. In other words, stuttering is more visible, or I guess audible, is more visible or audible than mental health, so they can use stuttering to hide their mental health issues. Now I'm going to talk about social anxiety disorder. So the opposite happens too. Some persons who stutter blame a mental health issue for their stuttering. Or actually what I hear is incompetent speech-language pathologists telling stuttering clients that a mental health issue, specifically social anxiety disorder, is causing their stuttering. Social anxiety disorder is fear and anxiety in social situations. The incompetent speech-language pathologist then does a long and costly treatment for social anxiety disorder. But the speech-language pathologist isn't a psychologist and doesn't have training to treat social anxiety disorder. So the person who stutters just gets billed for a lot of useless therapy. The evidence shows no connection between social anxiety disorder and stuttering. Some persons who stutter have social anxiety disorder, but most don't. Now I'm going to talk about quote-unquote closet stutterers. So the National Stuttering Association annual convention has workshops for quote-unquote closet stutterers. These are individuals who have little or no stuttering, but great fears of people thinking that they stutter. In contrast, people who stutter severely, such as myself, lack fear of being discovered because everyone knows that we stutter. In other words, it's not unusual for persons who stutter mildly to have more severe psychological issues than persons who stutter severely. And lastly, I'm going to talk about whether you can psych yourself out of stuttering. So sometimes you find YouTube videos or online courses that promise to cure stuttering without speech therapy. These gurus will teach you how to psych yourself out of stuttering by quote unquote facing your fears or quote unquote changing your attitude. Some of these gurus are former persons who stutter, who cured themselves, and I suspect that these gurus were closet stutterers who did some form of psychological self-therapy. Well, good for them. But you should go to a psychologist, not a guru, if you have speech-related fears and anxieties. Stuttering is a dopaminergic disorder. Stressful situations manifest stuttering. The more you try to not stutter, the more you'll stutter. Reducing stress alone won't reduce your stuttering. Instead, increase your fluent speech skills with evidence-based practice stuttering treatments. You can't psych yourself out of stuttering. And that's the end of this video about stress, dopamine, and psyching yourself out of stuttering. Look below the video for excuse me, for a link to buy my book, Making Stuttering Therapy Work, which is available on Amazon. Look for a button to click to watch the next video, and if you're watching this on YouTube, please click the like and subscribe buttons below the video so that I get a share of the revenue from the ads you've seen. And my website is casafuturatech.com.